She's got a lot of things on her mind to talk about now. She's taking care of her voice, so you know that she's not gonna shout now. She's not gonna shout. So get your headphones ready to hear what it's all about now. When it's all we'll have no fun, cause jenkirkman's podcast comes out today. We'll have no fun, cause jenkirkman's podcast comes out today.
We'll have no fun. The Jen Kirkman podcast, episode 32, coming to you on Thursday, December 22nd, just 3 days before Christmas. Have you done your Christmas shopping? Oh my God, it's going to start snowing on the East Coast. Woo! Hi, everybody. I am your host, Jen Kirkman. Did you like that long pause? Did you think something was wrong with your favorite podcast app that you're listening to this episode on? Nothing's wrong. Sometimes I take a pause. And no, I'm not going to edit it out. All right? Don't be so, I don't know. Like, you want everything perfect. Oh, pause for a minute, like in normal conversation. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, if you wanted to, you could just click that link in the show notes, go to patreon.com/jenkirkman, and you can listen to this entire episode by joining at the $5 level a month, which entitles you to the hour-long ad-free episodes every single week, including an additional bonus next week. There will be a brand new episode of No Fun on December 29th, but only for Patreon subscribers. There won't be the usual 20-minute free version. There'll be a little something. You'll have a little new thing in your download next week. So don't worry about that. But it won't be the first 20 minutes like always. But anyway, who cares? Blah, blah, blah. Let's just start talking. What am I going to talk about today? I might be talking about sometimes things, they get, I say I'm going to talk about it and then it gets pushed to the next week. But as far as I know today, I've just been listening to a lot of podcasts about cults. I'm going to talk about my personal experience with Marilyn Manson, which was very brief, but I gleaned a lot at this one time I was around him, and it was not, I might rant about some people I know who are COVID deniers and also think that New York City is dangerous. They've never been there, but they think it's too dangerous for me to live in. I'm going to talk about begging for a pneumonia vaccine, an article about how Gen X is living alone as they age. We've got more fun from the Nextdoor app. These people believed that someone had a mountain lion in their bathtub and they were freaking out in the comments. And that's it. But for right now, let's just talk about a few things. So I had another casual ageist experience. I tweeted about it, and of course I got my usual backlash from everybody. It's a compliment, and guys freaking out. Imagine if you're just following someone on Twitter and they tweet about an experience they had. And they're like, yeah, I had some casual sexism or casual racism, or in my case, it was casual ageism. And they tell a thing. It's not even a thread, just one tweet. And it did have a little humor to it, a little snark. And somebody writes that you should calm down and, take a compliment. It's not that big a deal. Who's making the big deal? The complete stranger who I was not tweeting at, who just was in my feed. I mean, why would a man get upset that a young woman complimented me in a way that actually reveals her ageism? And I'm trying to educate while being funny. Why would that bother? I understand the cultural, the sociological reasons, and yeah, get out your textbook and it's sexism. I know why. Capital W, capital H, capital Y. I know why, but small time, why? Why are you tweeting that at me? What? Do you really think you're going to change my mind? Just accept it. It's a compliment. That's the thing about compliments. You don't have to accept them if you have not been complimented. Compliments are an offer. They're not a, you don't just hands, they're like I don't know. They're not the toothbrush your dentist gives you that you have to take. I'm trying to think of things someone would give you that you have to take. I guess there's really nothing. Whatever. Great example, Jen. Is this what the podcast is? I can't believe it's not the number one podcast on iTunes. I mean, when you tried to come up with an example and then bailed on it, I was like, this is one of the great minds of our time. But anyway, so this thing happens that I've seen it happen a million times. It's just, I can sense when this thing I'm about to talk about is about to happen. So I walk into a podiatrist's office because even though I don't look 48, my toes are 48. I got 2 numb toes. Now, you want to hear about it? All right, I'll tell you briefly about my numb toes. It's really hard to describe the pain, and I overthink it every time to where I really think that anyone listening to me, but the doctor was the one at this point at that day. Basically, she's trying not to roll her eyes and go, I just pick one. Is it sharp, throbbing, burning, or numb? And I'm like, it's not any of them. And I'm not trying to be special. Like, my pain is different. I'm trying to say, this is what's weird. I can't describe it. But I should just go with one of them because it will be on the spectrum of said type of pain, right? But I want to get it exact so that we can exactly fix it. So basically, I've had these 2 toes my whole life. I mean, I have 10 toes, but 2 of them. By the way, I want to derail my own story by talking about foot fetish people, but I'll get back to that. So I got these 2 toes, the 3rd and 4th toe on my right foot, if any of you are taking notes. And I'd say intermittently for the past year, it's probably been 2 years. I get time all mixed up. But sometimes at the end of the day, I'll come home, I'll take my shoes off, I'll start walking around barefoot, indoors, of course. And I'll notice that my toes feel numb, kind of, it hurts when I walk, just in the toe, nowhere else. I guess painful, almost feels like what I imagine frostbite feels like that. It doesn't hurt when I touch them. And the only thing that feels good is taping my toes together super tight. But no matter what, it hurts when I don't have shoes on. It doesn't hurt when I have shoes on. And I don't wear those Sex and the City stilettos, tight high heels. I wear like a Doc Martens shoe or a sneaker or like a fun shoes, like some Fluvogs or whatever. But again, they're never tight in the toes because I don't like that feeling. So I don't tolerate it. I don't do it. I'm really never wearing shoes that you'd go, oh, of course she's got toe problems. That's why it was weird to me. Okay, so comes and goes, who cares? I would just chalk it up to, well, it's been a long day and maybe just my toes from being in any kind of shoe hurt. I never really gave much thought to why doesn't the other foot have it? I just go about my life. Then I had shingles on the right side of my leg area, and these toes are in the same area that the shingles was running down. And now the sensation that I can't sum up in one of the 4 choices, that sensation is 24/7. So I do think the nerve situation with shingles has exacerbated this thing I already had. Okay, so I'm at the doctor and I'm saying to her, it's numb. So you feel like you can't feel them? Oh, no, I guess it's not numb then. I don't know. And she's just like, all right. And I'm like, pain, sure. I guess it's, anyway, she does a x-ray on my feet. And I've never seen an x-ray of my feet before. I just thought that was kind of fun. Just looking at those bones and just thinking, I am a skeleton. There's a skeleton in me, like a scary Halloween skeleton. How fun. So I see on the right foot, my toes are just jammed together. They don't have spaces in between them. And if I try to space out my toes on the right foot, it doesn't really do it that well. And she said, yeah, your toes are cramped up. You were born that way. You were born that way. And she said, and you get a hammer toe on the right. And I won't sing Stop Hammer Time. But then that was in my head. Can't touch this. The minute she said that, I never knew I had a hammer toe. Great. I mean, it's always been a little weird. Like it's like a tiny little pinky toe that's kind of bent, but I guess I didn't realize that was what a hammer toe was. I'm fine with it. Anyway, so I had to get an MRI today, which I'll tell you about in a second. So we're going to figure out what's going on. It's all good. I'm not worried about it. There's a million treatments from conservative to surgery. I'm fine with all of it. Even the surgery is no big. I don't want to get any emails. Just don't. Just refrain and restrain. Nobody wants to share a medical story that they're not giving you all the details of in order to get emails about something they're never going to do. So just chill your little butts out. Anyway, so I walk into the podiatrist's office and I give the 25-year-old girl the front desk. Now I know she's 25 because she told me. She didn't tell me right when I walked in, hi, I'm 25. I mean, you'll see. So I don't hand her my license. She's asking me verbally, where do you live? What's the date of birth? I say 8/28/1974. She says, okay. She's like kind of not listening. And the computer does a thing. She goes, I'm sorry, can you say that again? I said, yeah, 8/28/1974. The computer's being weird. She does it again. And she's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, 8/28/1980. Was it 90 or 80? I'm like, no, 70. And she goes, 74? And literally I saw the thing that I always see. It's this short circuit that happens where somebody's brain is like, the 70s was so long ago. And they're just trying to be like, isn't my grandmother born in the 70s? Like they don't know what ages are. And she's like, she literally does this thing with her fingers like, 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, you look amazing. And I'm like, thanks. And so I'm just egging her on. I said, just in general? I mean, thanks. I don't even, didn't even do anything special with my hair. I don't have any makeup on. Just slapped on some moisturizer and came to the doctor early in the morning. She goes, I mean, like for 1974, like she's almost said for your age, but she changed it to for 1974. Like, actually, I don't look amazing for 1974. I assume in 1974, I would have had like a way cooler outfit on. But yes, I said, oh, for being born in 1974. I said, well, not really. I said, 48's young. She goes, and the other girl goes, 48? And then they go, we're 25. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know if I look younger than them, but I think I'm going to say it. Like, I like the way I look better than the way they look. Like, nothing wrong with the way they look, but like, yeah, young people often look tired and unmoisturized and like half of a mess because they're young and they're out and about and they're stressed and they don't have any money. And they're like, I'm sorry, but I don't know. And Gen X just looks younger. I don't know. We've never grew up. I don't know. Except the men. I mean, the men in Gen X become Proud Boys and they all look like they have liver failure. But again, they're drinking themselves to death. Drink yourself to death. You're probably going to look older. So anyway, she's like, oh my God. And they're just, the looks on their faces, you would think, I mean, literally just, there's excitement. Like I'm Jesus that has come back and I'm showing them stigmata. Oh my God. I said, you guys got to learn 48 is not old. I said, this is what 48 looks like. I said, do you see a lot of people my age? And they're like looking terrible. And they're just like, well, no, but I don't know. And I said, yeah, I go, everyone I know looks great. I said, it's not, they're like, but you look 25. I said, oh, and I just like I said, I wouldn't say that out loud. You see, I want us to get to a point where, again, it should be as offensive to say out loud as you are mixed race. Oh, I thought you were white. Good for you. I know people can say it's not the same. I'm telling you, I want to get to the point where saying, I thought you were 25. That's a good thing. I would never guess your age. And they're saying it. Now, they could say it like, oh, I thought you were 25. I could have never guessed your age. They're just saying it as a statement. Like, and then I also thought your sweater was ugly, but they're saying it like they're giving me America's biggest compliment. And I'm giving it back to them saying this is not actually a compliment. Now, you can say, you're hot. You look amazing. Your skin's beautiful. I'll take all those compliments, baby. But I don't look 25. I'll show you a picture of when I was 25. I look like shit. Okay. I had those 90s tiny eyebrows. I had circles under my eyes that I didn't know how to cover up because I've had these dark circles my whole life. My skin had like cystic acne at the jawline. My face was puffy because I was like, the vegetarian that was just eating bread and drinking wine because we didn't have all this accessibility to vegetarian foods that were just, signs advertising our new vegan plate. I mean, no. And I didn't sleep much because I worked a day job and I did stand up at night and I smoked and I don't think I drank water until I was 35. I mean, I don't want to look 25. Whatever. See, that's the thing. Me at 25, I had a baby face. I looked 12, but I don't know. I can we stop doing that? When is that going to stop? Because see, what you guys are doing, what your kids are doing is you're scaring me. If you think 48 is old, how are you going to treat me when I'm 58, 68? Are you going to just think I should just be discarded? I can't be helpful to society. I remember I told you I had a writing job with young women and they were young women of color and they were of different ethnicities. And one of the women said, if I'm in my 40s working a writing job and not running my own show, I'll kill myself. And I said, I'm in my 40s working a writing job, not running my own show. Now, my goal isn't to run a show, so a little bit different. But she said, well, I mean, you don't look it though. I go, well, what does that have to do with being like, so if you don't look 45 when you're 45, you won't kill yourself? Like, what does my looking like it or not have to do with that? You basically just said if you were me, you'd kill yourself. And she's like, no, not you, but just me at 45. And I'm like, no, I get it. But just, maybe realize that 45 isn't this thing you think it is, where if you haven't achieved like the hardest thing to achieve in the TV writing world, that maybe you don't have to kill yourself. And it'd probably be like you could achieve it at 50 and be just as happy and have just as much energy. But it was interesting that this, like, it's okay because you don't look it. And now the Writers Guild, which is my union, it counts as kind of a diversity hire, like if you're over 40, because that's something that's being discriminated against. And a lot of it is because they think people over 40 will be out of touch. And I've heard from a lot of people, they don't like to look at older faces. I'm completely not kidding. That's the world we continue to live in. And I'm sorry to say, young people, we say, oh, Gen Z saved us. Thank you all for voting for Democrats instead of fascists as we head into the next term. I mean, we still lost the House, but okay. But can we do something about the ageism? Because I don't feel great about growing up under the umbrella of this generation running things someday when I feel like all I hear about is we need new blood. And if I'm 45, I'll kill myself. I mean, it's shocking. It's shocking. So I'm going to somehow, I don't know, lead a crusade on ageism. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Right now, I just have this podcast, but that is something that is important to me because these little things, and to some, listen, to each their own. I always get emails from people. I want people to tell me I look 25. That's totally cool. I'm not saying abolish that as a compliment, but don't say it without being self-conscious, or just don't say it. Now, if you yourself would like to be told that you look 25, you can go around and solicit it. You can ask people, how old do you think I am? And if they say 25, you can go, yes, I'm 50. I fooled you. I literally don't care if you want that for yourself. But I'm talking about just people that are young, that are otherwise, I know, very sensitive to other things that there's prejudice against, think ageism is not a thing. And you could say, Jen, it's not people aren't getting pulled over and beaten by the cops because they're 80. I get it. I'm not saying everything is equal, but everything has to be taken seriously. It doesn't cost you anything, and it doesn't cost you any more energy to just not be ageist and maybe to look into it a little if you don't take my word for it. And just if someone says like, that really hurts because you're actually making me afraid for the future, then just like, take that into consideration. Do better. That's it. It's like really not giving you homework, So there you go. Just think before you say that compliment, because it's not a compliment to everybody. Shout out to the MRI I got today. So that, a week goes by, I have to get an MRI on the foot. I lay there in this room. The woman that was helping me, she's typing on the computer. And she's like, she keeps making mistakes because her nails are super long. She's like, she's an older woman. She's like, oh, goodness. She's like, I'm so stupid. Why did I do my nails for the holidays? I don't know what her accent is, something European. Why did I do my nails for the holidays? She goes, now I can't type. She goes, and anyway, who sees me at the holidays? And she's kind of talking to herself while she's putting my foot in the MRI machine. She's like, and who sees me anyway? I mean, like anybody cares about my nails. And I wanted to know more about her life, but I hadn't gotten a lot of sleep last night. I was so tired and I just wanted to nap during the MRI, but I really wanted to be like, what does that mean? Who sees you? Do you live alone and you're just getting this really nice manicure? Or do you have people in your family that don't appreciate your nails? I mean, I really could have gotten into it with this woman, but instead I just passed out asleep the moment my head hit the pillow. And I just had my foot there in the MRI machine. It was really, really not the kind of claustrophobic MRI, obviously, because it's just my foot. And I laid there asleep and just listened to the sound of her in the same room sitting next to me, typing, just click, click, like really slow. And just her going, because she was so upset about her nails. And then when I left, I said, your nails look beautiful. And she was very touched. And I think that's all she needed was a compliment about her nails. I didn't say her nails look 25. I just said your nails look beautiful. All right, we're going to keep talking. We're going to talk some shit today over on the Patreon version of the podcast. Hope you join me. I'll see you over there. And if not, until next week, have fun.